and welcome to another episode of Just Off College Avenue. Today we are going to be talking with the Experiential Learning Hub, which is also referred to as the EL Hub. We've got some wonderful people here who actually are on the EL Hub and serve different sectors that we are going to talk to today. So hello everyone, welcome, and thank you so much for joining. So the first question is probably the most obvious, so tell us a little bit about yourselves and your respective sectors that you serve.
I guess I'll start. I'm Candace Stadler. I serve as the Director of International Programs here at the college, and I work with students on study abroad.
Hi, so my name is Dr. Marian Young. I'm an Assistant Professor of Psychology, and I also serve as the Director of UVA Wise Connects, which is community-based engagement part of the Hub.
And hi, I'm Heather Evans, and I'm a Professor of Political Science here, and I also serve as the Director of the Experiential Learning Hub, so kind of getting everybody together.
Hello, my name is Brenna Robinson. I am the Program Assistant for the Experiential Learning Hub, and I support all sectors, but I have a little bit more knowledge about internships.
Hi there, my name is Robert Arwood. I'm an Assistant Professor of Psychology, and I'm the Director of Undergraduate Research. So a lot of my work is supporting students, getting them involved in research at the undergrad level.
Okay, so why was the EL Hub created?
I'll take that one. So a few years ago, back in, it would have been the fall of 2019, Krista Moore, who's a professor of sociology, and we actually went and had a meeting with the chancellor here at UVA Wise to talk about service learning and to see if there was a way to maybe track or start a new initiative on who is it on campus who is encouraging their students to go out into the community or bring the community onto campus and do service learning in their courses. And at that point, UVA Wise Connects was born. And so UVA Wise Connects, and I'll let Marian talk a little bit about that, is all about getting faculty members and community partners connected and having something within the classes that the students are doing to engage. There is a requirement in terms of the number of hours for that and so forth, and she can speak to a little bit of that. But after that, we were also at the college revising our liberal arts core. And one of the things about the liberal arts core is that at the time, our liberal arts core had not been revised since the early 80s. So we were thinking about lowering the hours, making it more intentional, thinking about what works for a college student these days that perhaps wasn't really on the table for college students back in the 80s. And one of the changes that we suggested was that at first I said, well, maybe every student should have to take one of those courses that is part of UVA Wise Connects, these ACE courses. But then I realized that, that doesn't really work for every single student. Other students may do things like studying abroad, undergraduate research, getting an internship. And really it's experiential learning. So it's the idea that students are engaging with something outside of the traditional classroom, and it is impacting what it is that they do for their future careers, how they decide whether they're going to go to law school or go into a certain career path, a particular industry, volunteer in their community, do something in that area. So that became a part of the liberal arts core. And the liberal arts core was passed, the new liberal arts core was passed about 2 years ago. So starting last fall, every student now at UVA Wise is required to do one of these things before they graduate. And so the EL Hub was born actually before it became a requirement because we could kind of see these things were getting ready to take off. And so we're really excited to be working with students in these ways.
Well, I think that it benefits students a lot too, especially having a central group of people they can contact if they have questions. So I congratulate you all for serving on the Hub. So the next question is, what is the best way for students to engage in your respective sectors, such as websites, social media, any of those things that they could use, and then any future engagement that you may want them to know about?
I'm happy to start. So study abroad is a fabulous way for students to engage on campus, take their skills and learn about the greater world. And then when they come back, they just enrich campus with all of those experiences. We really try a variety of ways. International Programs has moved into a new space for this upcoming year. So we're located on the 3rd floor of the library. So really like the the living room of campus. So everybody passes through the library, stop by, see us. You'll notice our office because we have all the flags hanging from our doors. So that's a great way to just stop in and say hello, engage, talk about where you're interested in. But of course, you can connect with us on social media through Instagram. We constantly send out emails to students. There's information tables, information sessions. All the upcoming new student events are a great way to connect. It takes some time to plan to study abroad for students. So generally students who are engaging in study abroad, it takes about 6 months to a year to plan that experience. So the earlier that we can connect, the better off it is to plan your experience of where you want to go. And there's a variety of different kinds of opportunities. So connect with a faculty member who's also study abroad. That is a great way for them to explain what their experience was, kind of direct you to where you want to go. So there's lots of different ways.
So the best way to connect with me is I'm always here, like Monday through Friday. You can always drop by my office, which is 135 Smitty Hall. And on top of that, the other big place is that last year I worked really closely with Heather to roll out a new social media type platform called Give Pulse. Give Pulse is actually developed by a company in Texas, and they actually are solely designed to connect community partners with colleges and universities, right? And so we worked really hard last year, especially in the spring semester, to get all the community-based partners, give them the information, come to campus, have training, set up pages. We've worked with a lot of the clubs and organizations, right? Because it's not just, individual students or ACE courses that can be involved, but it's also our clubs and organizations that can be involved, especially in community-based engagement. So I'd encourage you to go to Give Pulse, right? So, and if you go to Give Pulse, you can search, you can search for UVA Wise, you can, follow us or join us. I'll approve you, Heather will approve you. And then what we're hoping and what we've seen is that our community-based members have started posting activities and events and things that are on there. The really great thing about Give Pulse that we're able to do is we can also track hours, right? So once students actually go and let's say that they do a community-based project, with a community partner, then they can log their hours. We used a lot for the community egg hunt that we had back in April to log hours of the different groups that came, like the baseball team came to help out, and so on and so forth. So definitely Give Pulse. There's also a lot of information available on our website, right? So for both UVA Wise Connects as well as Experiential Learning that you can get to. I also have a lot of different contacts, so you can always reach out and be like, hey, is there anything I can do? Or if you're talking to someone and you find somebody in the community that you worked for this summer and they're like, hey, I think I could use some additional help for this project throughout the semester, please let me know and we'll get that set up for you so you can get your credit.
So we love the connections between off campus, on campus. It strengthens the community. So yes, okay, beautiful. Heather?
And of course, I'm in Smitty, Smitty Hall, 158. You can email me anytime. We also have a little Experiential Learning Hub office that's also upstairs in Smitty Hall, part of Academic Affairs. So you can swing by there, and we usually have a couple interns as well that kind of come in and out of that space. So you can stop by there and just email me anytime. We do have the website, like Marian mentioned, and so yeah, it's pretty easy to contact.
So for internships, obviously, as they've mentioned, email, stopping by our offices. My office will be in the Wellness Center as soon as I get furniture. So you can stop by there and speak with me, or you can download Handshake and you can see all available internships and some jobs, I think, as well on there, as far out as I don't know, Texas to right here locally. It's probably the best place to find all internships available to the students. But also there are internships around campus, and we send emails about those from the Career Discovery email. So going trend here, check your email.
So undergraduate research is a little bit different of an office with the Hub, just because it's much more of a support instead of a direct offering research opportunities. We like to support the research. But to do that, we're pretty easy to get a hold of. I've been called the ghost of Smitty because I'm always there. And I've got the first office, so it's pretty easy to find. Otherwise, email. We keep a website that has many of our funding opportunities as we get them posted. So this will be grants that we offer. This will be summer scholars programs that we offer that help support students with the research that they're engaging in with the faculty in whatever department they're coming from. Otherwise, anytime we get new information like that, it's often emailed out. We do several calls for funding throughout the year. There's about an email that goes out a couple times a month from me to students. Otherwise, we just try to put those out as soon as we get them.
Are there any current or ongoing efforts that you would like everyone to know more about? So that could be funding, applications, presentations, or events that you know of at this time.
Absolutely. I think all of us are big proponents of constantly trying to increase funding for activities in our programs. But study abroad, we have some upcoming trips that will be available. We have a variety of different kinds of study abroad experiences. So the first are our short-term faculty-led trips. Those are the most popular types of study abroad here at the college. Last year we had about 70 students participate in one of those trips. So really a great opportunity if you've never traveled before, if you feel like you want to do something a little bit more short-term. So, but if you want something a little bit longer term, we do have other opportunities for you. So that could be a summer program that's about 4 to 6 weeks long, depending on your academic study and where you want to go. Or we could do a traditional semester or year program abroad, and we have several different options for that too. The first are exchange programs, which are with our partner institutions abroad. We have currently partners in 7 different countries where students can exchange, so we receive students from them as well. And then we have a partnership with Canterbury Christ Church University in the UK with Dr. John Mark Adrian, and he takes a group of students every fall. And so there's really a program for everyone depending on what your interests are and your comfort level. But having said that, our short-term trips for winter break and spring break, our recruitment for those will be kicked off pretty much August 1. So applications are available August 1 for those trips and are due in early to mid-September. Our faculty-led programs that'll happen in summer 2026, which is usually May programs will be available a little bit later, and they'll be announced their application process when school starts. So lots of different opportunities. We'll have information sessions. There are great scholarships that you can apply to at the college, but also national awards that you can apply through the National Fellowships Office here at the college. So don't think that you can't afford it. Many students find that it becomes a very affordable option if they plan and they apply for all the scholarships that they have available to them.
So we're going to be hosting a community partners breakfast next week, Tuesday, August 5th. And so what I'm hoping, besides just to say, hey, community partners, we love you, thanks for coming, here's some free food. We're also hoping to get some information about what their needs might be, right? If they have any opportunities or projects that they want to partner with UVA Wise on. And then in September, we are going to be doing a session where I'll be providing students with more information about community-based learning, right? So we'll talk about, remind everybody what the experiential learning requirement actually is, what specifically community-based learning is, and what are some of those opportunities that are available. It'll be open to all students, faculty, staff who want to come. I'll help get them set up on Give Pulse if they need assistance with that, especially for the freshmen who attend. And again, that's going to be in September. So if the students really do want to get involved with some sort of community partner in the fall, then they're able to do that as early in the semester as possible. And then just throughout the year, there's always opportunities to partner, right? So what I think I like so much about the community-based part, besides that I'm involved, just kidding, is that there's not really deadlines associated with it per se, right? So we can really make something happen anytime that you're interested. So, you know, you get to spring semester and it's in the winter and you're like, it's cold outside, I can't do much, you know, and you're bored or want to get involved. I mean, you can always reach out and we can always find a community partner, right, for people to be paired up with based on their interests and, you know, like you said, want to create those connections in the community. So yeah, I'd say come to the event in September. We'll have more throughout the semester. We always do, right? So we always have at least a couple events in the fall for community-based, and we also do some events in the spring just to remember people, remind people, and also potentially get them set up for summer activities, right? So yeah, so just be on the lookout for emails, and please come in September. We'll have, you know, free swag, raffles, you know, there's always snacks involved, all the things that we all love, right?
So along with that, we will actually have a tent this year at Convocation. So as soon as Convocation is over, you will see us there and we'll be sharing information about each of these areas. One of the things that I think the hub part of this does is kind of share out that information from all. So we will be there for that event. We're having an event on campus that we do every fall called Spice Up Your Life with Experiential Learning, because we really like the Spice Girls. Spice Up Your Life is an event that happens really early in the morning, and we provide snacks and drinks and talk to students about their options. So for the hub, it looks different for every single student as to what it is you're going to select to check off on your degree plan that this is how you've satisfied the experiential learning activity requirement. So getting students to think about that. Would it be better for you to travel abroad? Like, do you want to travel abroad? Here's how you do it. Do you want to do an event with a community partner organization, work for 30 hours and have that count? Great. Do you want to do undergraduate research? Here's how you would get involved with that. Do you want to do internships? And here's kind of where you would go to find out that information. So you'll be seeing things all semester. We also have a group of events that happen in the fall called, so we've got Spice Up Your Life with Experiential Learning, and then Fall into Experiential Learning, where each of these segments will be highlighted at an event for students, and those count as cultural credits. This year, like Marian mentioned, hers is going to be a little bit earlier so we can get students kind of right when they get to campus. But some of the others you'll see on campus things about, oh, here's now the event for studying abroad, here's now the event for the research blitz, and so forth. So those will be spaced out all throughout the fall.
Right now for internships, we have several things that have rolled out over the summer. The first one being Parker Dewey, which is micro internships. So these are short-term projects that our community partners are posting onto our online application or base, whatever you want to call it. And the students can go and apply like they would for a regular job, and most of these are completed virtually, so the students don't have to worry about transportation, and they still get paid for it. The second one that we have rolled out this summer, they're called elevated internships. These will mimic a graduate teaching assistantship, but at the undergraduate level. So it will be the student's job to make the connection with the professor that they want to work with and set up a plan, and then they can excuse me, they can apply for this, and then we as a committee, me, Tanya Nations, and we also have selected a professor to help us with that. We'll select the students that we think best fit. I think we have 4 spots for that and funding. And then the third one that we rolled out, or that is getting ready to roll out, is called the Workforce Recruitment Program. These are internships within the federal government for students and recent graduates who have disabilities. So that will open in the middle of August, I think, and then it closes around October 10th. And so then the students will have their resumes and their information shared with the federal government in hopes of being picked to have an internship or even a full-time job. So those are the 3 things on the docket for internships right now.
So we may not have quite as much swag or quite as much snacks or direct internships, but we do have money. And who can beat cold hard cash? No. So one of the big things we're putting out now is we've just completely revamped the conference travel and research funding process. We've also increased the amount that students can apply for. The way this works, if you are engaging in research of any kind or any sort of like experiential learning involved around scholarship, and I very liberally say around scholarship, you can apply once a year for $800 to either collect data, go out and get access to information you need, travel to conferences, purchase stuff for the research process. We keep it very open. And the review process for that is actually interdisciplinary. So we have individuals from VPAR, from education, from math and computer science, from social sciences, from natural sciences, all across the college, so that every major is getting representation and having an opportunity to get at some of that money. But it can be used for a number of things around scholarship. Most students do use it for conference travel, so that could be either hotel costs, conference registration, stuff like that. And we do try to keep it at $800, but given special circumstances, so for instance, last year we had a student won an incredibly prestigious award from the American Chemical Society, was invited to give a keynote address as an undergrad at their annual conference, huge honor. We were able to support that a little bit more just because of the caliber of that project. But we offer those year-round. Students can apply for those. We have kind of suggested cutoffs, but students are allowed to apply for those at any time, and they can typically get it one time per year. Otherwise, I'm always telling students to be prepared for the undergraduate research grants. Those are much more competitive, and we do require a pseudo National Science Foundation proposal. So those take a while and considerable collaboration with the faculty mentor to apply for. And that's also, again, around scholarships, even though it's called the undergraduate research grant. So it can be used. We've got students now using it for traditional like lab-based sciences, but we've also got one using it to support sort of play development, because he's putting together not a one-man play, but a full like artistic, I don't necessarily, it's out of my field, I don't remember what it's called. Thank you, yes, production. It's like a full production, and so we're able to support that through these funds. Otherwise, I think Heather's kind of already alluded to the research blitz. During the fall semester, we invite faculty to nominate select students that have been engaging in research for a while to give kind of a mini conference style presentation. It's a cultural event. Last year, I think there were a lot of people there last year, and it's pretty well attended, so that students can get practice talking about their research quickly, but also talking about their research in front of a large number of people, and being able to talk about their research outside of their discipline, because we often find students can talk about their own field, but getting it intelligible to those outside of that field can be challenging. So that's mostly what we're gearing up with now.
And what's really great about the Blitz, I think, is the fact that because you have all these people from outside, and then they see these students who've been doing this stuff, they're like, oh my God, I should do something like that. Because after that event, some of them came up and said, what's the contact information for that student, or how do I get in touch with that faculty member? And so
it never fails, either after the Blitz or after Research Day. There's always like an uptick in applications, or at least requests for information. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. And it sounds like each of your departments are trying to lift the barriers for access. So whether that's for funding or trying to find where funds could be. So I love to hear that too, because I feel like that's one thing students who are out on their own really think about is the money, the money piece. So my next question is, have you, each of you, experienced a either mind or life-changing event within one of these sectors that really has helped guide your passion for working either in the section or being on the hub as a whole? It could be recent, and it could be like years and years ago, whatever, you know.
Start if y'all need a minute. Okay. I feel like it's kind of easiest for me at this moment. So I'm a recent graduate, just graduated in May of 2025 with my degree in mathematics. And while I was a student here, I participated in an internship in government relations and strategic initiatives with Shannon Blevins. That was not within my area of study, but I quickly found that I really loved the type of work that we were doing over there. I liked the government side, I liked the community engagement side, I liked the economic development, but where I really fell in love was career discovery and planning. And I got to participate in a VTOP internship towards the end of the fall semester and throughout the spring. And that's where I really, really fell in love with it. And it kind of changed my mind into what I thought I wanted to do right out of college, because the whole time that I was studying, I was like, I want to be a statistician, I want to do data, I want to crunch numbers. And then I was like, maybe I don't. Maybe I would rather be in a position where I can help other students by using my success story of having an internship. So yeah, being here, going to college here, participating in experiential learning, that's my mind-altering story.
I love that. I have a similar story. So when I've met with students this summer during orientation and they come up to the table to talk about experiential learning, I'm talking with them with their families, I say, okay, so technically here at the college, you have to do one. You should do them all. If you can do them all, do them all. And the reason I say that is because when I was in college, because I went to Berea College, I did not know at first exactly what I wanted to do. I thought, I'm going to be a math teacher. So I enrolled in all these math courses. My mom had been a math teacher. It made sense for me to be a math teacher. I took a political science class by accident. I actually was afraid to even take it because it had the word science in it, and I thought, that means I'm going to have to do experiments. And when I was in high school, we didn't do experiments, we played poker. And so I am like, I had no idea what it was. I'd taken government, whatever. And the only reason I took political science then was because it was part of the liberal arts core. So I started taking them both and loved them both. I became a double major. And while I was there, I did the community engagement, because that's part of being a Berea College student. I studied abroad. I thought, I'm going to go to law school. I got an internship in a law office and realized really quickly, I don't want to be a lawyer. And then as a senior, I did the undergraduate research. And through that, I then learned that I should be in academia. I should go on to grad school. And I think that we have a lot of students where that happens to them. So like in undergrad research, it's like a light turns on and they're like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. Internship, oh my gosh, that is the thing. That is what I want to do. Community engagement, I want to work with this organization forever. Studying abroad, right? Oh my, it changes their worldview. They then become attracted to a different career field where they're working with different people. I think it happens everywhere, all across campus, and it's because of stuff like this.
I want to piggyback off that actually, because I'm thinking of two very specific examples that are very recent from the college. And you can sub in tons of examples for any of these, but I'm specifically talking about research. I'm thinking of two students. Both students were, I don't think they would disagree to say they weren't the best students. They kind of sliding by, and to one of their own admission, she actually said she was just going through the motions. Her thing was, C's get degrees, that sort of thing. And that's actually verbatim from her cover letter for graduate school. But so these two students got engaged in undergraduate research. One of them as a sophomore, the other as a senior in his fourth year, who ended up spending 6 years here because of some decisions in the past. But both of them realized, hey, I kind of like the area that they were respectively in, and they found a question that they were really curious about. And it was amazing to watch them 2 years in one young man's case and 3 years in the young woman's case, because watching their growth and evolution over those 2 and 3 years, because, we're talking academic probation in both cases. And now, though, the one who graduated last year, he is in a graduate program at Rutgers in his field, and the other is starting a graduate program in experimental psychology at Georgia Southern with one of the biggest names in her field. So seeing how they've gone from sort of the risk students that almost got kicked out to finding something they were genuinely interested in and getting really hands-on with that interest completely changed sort of their life trajectories, and now they are not just succeeding, they're thriving, and they're meeting all the right people, they're engaging in all the right processes to really go as far as they want to. So each one of these, and this isn't a research specific thing, each one of these opportunities have that, but to see what they can do to completely change students' worldviews is just amazing.
My life-changing experience that happened as an undergrad, that, you know, like Heather, I engaged in a lot of these types of activities. I went to a small private college in West Virginia. Grew up in Appalachia, so not completely undifferent to what it is here. But I studied abroad the semester after 9/11. It was something that I never really had thoughts about. I was kind of unsure, but a faculty member had encouraged me. And it was a wonderful experience. And it was one that completely changed who I am as a person. And I think that studying abroad in particular has an opportunity to immediately change who you are. We joke all the time that a student, when you come back, you're a different person. And you are, because you learn that even though this faraway place, people are just people. People are like you. They're dealing with the same kinds of life circumstances often. They have the same hopes. They have the same dreams. They have the same stressors. And so having that opportunity to learn that you can be confident in navigating a new culture, that you can be confident in experiencing conversations with people that have completely different backgrounds from you, or maybe different views of the world than you do. Seeing something that was built, 500 years before the United States was even founded is pretty impressive and exciting as a person. But what it does ultimately is it changes the fabric of who you are, so that you can then be an ambassador, not only for your ideals and your citizenship, but you can bring that back here to show that ultimately we're living up to those standards of a liberal arts education. We value the diversity of ideas, people, places, and the ability to make the world a better place. And I think study abroad is one of those opportunities that the light switch comes on immediately. So that's why it's exciting for me. And any time that we can get people to explore the world and bring a little bit back to Wise, Virginia, is a good thing. Those are all pieces that make us stronger as a community. So study abroad. It'll change your life.
Wow. So note to self, don't go last next time. These are all really great stories. And I'm like, well, how can I be different? And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a kind of a personal story, and then also one that connects to students here at UVA Wise. So I think for me, I started off similar to Heather's story. Like I thought I was going to be a doctor, like a medical doctor. I am a doctor, but not a medical doctor. And so I started off as a pre-med major at Emory and Henry College. I know it's Emory and Henry University, but it'll always be Emory and Henry College to me. My second semester of my sophomore year, as part of their liberal arts core requirement, I had to take a psych class, right? And I took psych, and I just loved it, fell in love with it. It came really naturally to me. And so then I decided to double major and eventually, go on to graduate school. But at the time when I started double majoring, I'm like, well, what can I actually really do with this psych degree? Like I didn't necessarily know, because I was so focused for so long on this goal of being a medical doctor. And so as part of one of my classes, we were required to actually do some sort of community-based learning project. It was for my child development class. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up volunteering at a local elementary school and tutoring kids for speech, right? And this was something that was near and dear to my heart because I had speech issues when I was younger, couldn't say S's very well. And so I, got to tutor them for a whole semester. And just being able to, see those incremental differences and also apply skills and theories that we were learning in the classroom to what I was actually doing in the real world, like it really increased my personal investment in learning, right? And I could really see, any of my students would say that my biggest thing is that, what you learn in the classroom doesn't occur in a vacuum, right? It's not just in the classroom. Like I want you to go out and see psychology in action. And so for me, doing that community-based learning project, I was able to see what I was learning in the classroom come to life, right, with working with these kids. And so that also kind of, increased my passion, if you will, for wanting to go into working with kids and doing research with kids ultimately, right? Because my background is in developmental psychology. So here, one of the ways that I kind of integrate it, there's plenty of ACE courses, and I always encourage my students to take ACE courses because they get to, it kind of can be nerve-wracking, I think, to like approach somebody and be like, hey, can I help you out? And so with the ACE courses, you kind of get that first step, right? Because it's all set up by your faculty, whoever the faculty member is for that course. And it's going to be a smaller project, it's about 9 hours compared to the 30 hours that you would have to do for the ELA requirement. But it kind of gets your toe wet and can actually, like, again, see whatever you're learning in the classroom and action in the real world. Another place, though, for me, kind of similar to Robert's story, is in my child development lab, they're actually required to go volunteer at the Little Cavaliers Early Learning Center, which is across the street from us and opened up a year ago this September. Some of my students, when they come to work in the child development lab, they have an idea of what they think working with kids are going to be like. And I'm like, no, let's go to the toddler room at Little Cavs, and you can see what doing research with kids can really be like, right? Because it can be trying. And so this is the first year that I did it in the spring semester, and they're great. You can pass background checks, of course, because you're working with kids, but everybody went over there and volunteered, and it was really life-changing, I think, for them, because they also got to think about how to do research with kids. They got to learn more about developmental assessments. I trained them on developmental assessments that they can use in research and also in real life. And actually, one of my students went on to get a job there, right? So now she's working there part-time as she's also working to complete her master's, right, in mental health counseling, and hopefully will be working in the area and working with, ballot health and that sort of thing. And so, when I was thinking about doing this podcast, and like, I'm a big fan of like cheesy quotes, like everybody knows in my office, there's Dolly Parton quotes everywhere. And what came to mind, and that's why I keep looking at my phone, because I didn't want to misquote it, is from Benjamin Franklin, right? So it's tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. Right. And I think for my, for all of us in the EL Hub, but especially for my part, involvement in the community fosters that, deeper understanding and personal investment in learning, and they get to apply it to their community and hopefully strengthen those connections. And in our case, we get to keep this young student, right? Because originally she was going to move away from the area, and now her and her husband are going to stay in the area. So it's a win-win for everybody.
It's so wonderful. Okay, so unfortunately, we've gotten to our last question. So first, I want to thank you all for participating. It has been absolutely amazing hearing from each of you, learning more about each of your respective sectors, and also letting students know how to connect with you. So the last question, in the spirit of curiosity and keeping students, moving through college with an open mindset, like a growth mindset, I wanted to ask you all, is there something that has currently been in your peripherals, it's been in your circle, that you want to recommend to students? So it could be a book, a podcast, maybe an artist, a production, anything that you think it would help them keep that growth mindset and learn more.
I think for me, it's not one particular thing. It is, I just encourage students to read. I think that reading for pleasure, for a novel, is a way to dream and experience another world. And if you, that's what study abroad does, right? It allows you to go experience another world. But if you read, it helps you build empathy. It helps you build skills of understanding, communication, just exploring yourself and others. And so I think if you can do anything, it's devote time to reading whatever it is that you like. That will help you as a lifelong learner. And so there's not one, I wouldn't say do this one thing or do this, read this one book. Find what you have interest in and cultivate that as a habit so that you carry that forward forever. So that would be my advice.
My advice would be take Living the Good Life with Michael O'Donnell, because if you don't already know it, he's going to make sure that you know how to be a good person and how to make the most out of this life. And one thing that he instilled in me last semester was to always watch the news or read the news articles, because you're never going to go through this life being able to have meaningful conversations and connections unless you are up to date on what's going on in the world and what's happening. Because, I mean, that's what everybody thrives off of, is gossip, I'll say. So if you don't have the knowledge to gossip, then you can't be engaged. You can't be a crucial part of society.
I'm going to bounce from hers. So put your phones down, leave them alone, go to a local meeting, any kind of public government meeting, and learn about how decisions are made in your community. So there has been, and this is kind of like a sidebar, but there has been a death of local news. And so a lot of what goes on in local communities, people find out about way after it has happened. And I think it's really important for students to see how decisions are made and how they can also get involved locally through committee work, through running for office, through all of that. So pay attention to local issues in your community. Just put your phone down, go to a local meeting. And if you take one of my classes, I'll take you to those local meetings. So.
Okay. I'll go. Okay. So I think anyone in higher ed lately has noticed a trend where if you ask a lot of students coming in, well, what do you want to do? What's your goal? And they'll be, I want to be an influencer. That tends to be one of the most popular jobs out there now. And I've gone from meeting that with frustration of, oh my God, please, why? To, okay, how do you want to influence people? Because as educators, we influence people all the time, influencing kind of their interest in stuff, the knowledge they have. You can influence people with working with local politics. You can influence your community by engaging in community service. You can influence anything out there. Every job is influencing. It's just looking at it that way. It's thinking about that impact you're having with what you are doing. So like I said, I've gone from being, oh God, here's another influencer, to absolutely, but how do you want to influence? So I always tell people to think about, how do you want to do this? What do you want to influence with, as opposed to just saying, I just want to influence people? Because even the big social media influencers, they're important in marketing, branding. They're influencing in massive ways, even if you don't quite realize it. So.
Hi, it's me again. I think for, sitting here thinking about it, I think for me, I think a big one is self-care, right? So I think that students get really busy, right? So we have a lot of students who are working at least, a job or multiple jobs to pay for school, or they have to take care of family members or their student athletes, or, a number of other things. And so I think we get really overscheduled and that sort of thing. And so I think just, taking time for yourself and, figuring out what that may be for you, right? And maybe that is going to local meetings, or maybe that is, volunteering to read to kids at the local library, or going to a nursing home and hang out, whatever that may be, right? But, taking time for yourself, and then also, trying to make those connections within the community. And I love also what she had said about reading. I'm a huge reader. I read a lot for pleasure in the summer. Becomes my focus, because I do not read for pleasure necessarily. During the school year, right? It's more for job, and so I would think that for me, I'm a huge reader, and I think that knowledge equals power, and books are filled with that, right? But books are also filled with ways for escape, and ways to have outlets for creativity and that sort of thing. So I think that always reading, always staying curious, right? Asking those questions, I think is really, really important. And then finally, I think I'm going to have to end with Dolly Parton, right? I love Benjamin Franklin, but my girl Dolly, patron saint of Tennessee, right? So one of my favorite quotes from her, a Dollyism, is figure out who you are and do it on purpose. And I think that's what your experience here at UVA Wise is going to allow you to do, and especially getting involved with the Experiential Learning Hub is going to allow you to do that, right? To be able to find your passion and, figure out who you want to be.
Thank you all so much for joining another episode of Just Off College Avenue, and we look forward to seeing you in future episodes. Bye!